Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News, the second try, for May 8th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 128, and OBS has some kind of a weird memory glitch. Again, I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. It's a news aggregation site that I use every single day for the last 10 years. And on January 1st, 2022, I opened it up to the public. And now people are going there and using it, and I think that it's great. So I actually, that same day, I started streaming a daily show. Non Sequitur News was actually called ohmTown Daily News Show, but we changed it to be more aligned with what the topics are, which are, it's a cacophony of information. It's some interesting news today, and so that's what I'm going to be calling it from now on, along with it being called Non Sequitur News. That is the show, but I read some interesting news today, and I'm going to tell you all about it. How about mothers are getting more expensive? A sprinkling of typos. How much of the ocean have we actually seen? Then we'll talk about a ping pong robot. A 3-year-old was served wine on a flight. A drooling dragon. A microbe that digests medical grade plastic. The bar exam vendor that's getting sued for the California bar, let's say, botched. And the cold cola wars heats up, and Dune Awakening servers won't overheat. That's what they're saying, but it's beta weekend right around the corner. So apparently, I think you should stick around. All right, we are on the other side of our little intro, so let's get right on into it. I can probably rip through this really fast because the sentient AI isn't here to do the show with me, and so there really isn't that much back and forth. It's just me talking about these interesting articles that were submitted. And I would normally have put these into Omatron, but I messed up. So today has been kind of a weird day, I guess. And they are embedded over in the show notes, the broadcast description over on YouTube. So go and check that out. And they will later be on the podcast itself. If you use a podcatcher, do a search for ohmTown and you'll find the 7 podcasts that we put on every week. 6 on the weekends and 1 daily Non Sequitur News. Let's get going. So if you thought that Mother's Day was going to be fairly respectable in terms of price, guess again. Expect Mother's Day brunch to be more expensive this year as egg, coffee, and bacon prices have risen. The cost of dining at restaurants has gone up by 3.8% in the past year. Has your salary gone up 3.8%? Sure, some of you, but the bulk of people, no, have not. And it's damn near sociopathic to think that everybody should suffer. So the cost of dining at restaurants has gone up by 3.8% in the past year. And one expert says the increase could be as much as 15% at some establishments. I know that supplies for something has gone up tremendously that I use now. Well, we use here in ohmTown quite a bit. Anyway, yeah, let's get into this. The article is by Charles Passy over at marketwatch.com. And 15% at some restaurants. So everybody needs to just spin up their little microgreen farm in their basement and buy some grow lights and grow your own microgreens. Lettuce is going to get outrageously expensive. So thank inflation, but inflation exacerbated by tariffs. Yeah, that's going to be a bitch. So if you're celebrating Mother's Day with brunch at your mom's favorite restaurant, you might need a plan on digging a little deeper. 3.8% is just the starting point, according to some. New York City is going to be even higher. Mark Bucher or Butcher, Butcher, I don't know, it might be Bucker, co-owner of the multi-state restaurant chain Medium Rare and National Restaurant Association board member, said that some establishments may have hiked menu prices as much as 15% over the past year, though he added that he kept prices in check at his places. They also noted that when it comes to Mother's Day, families still want to take their mom out for a meal, especially brunch. but that may be inclined to spend a little less because of recent economic fears. Yeah, I'm kind of going the other way. You got to spend money to make money, apparently. So when it comes to dining out, they'll bypass certain places. According to Lending Tree consumer financial analyst Mike Scholes, instead of going to a white tablecloth restaurant, they'll go to a less fancy version. So, Mom, you're going to McDonald's. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News as well. College students are sprinkling typos into their AI papers on purpose. So instead of looking for places to fix their typos, they're hiring. No, they're not hiring anybody, but hey, their friends are going, hey, this reads like an AI paper. Why don't you sprinkle some typos in there? In a wide-ranging exploration into the ways that AI has been changing academia, students told New York Magazine that AI cheating has become so normalized, they're figuring out creative ways to get away with it. While it's common for students and for anyone else who uses ChatGPT and other chatbots to edit the output of an AI chatbot, some are adding typos manually to make essays sound more human. Some more ingenious users are advising chatbots to essentially dumb down their writing. In a TikTok viewed by New York Mag, for instance, a student said that she basically, I think she's going to tell this because I don't read the full thing. The only thing that I prep for, and I don't even do that, is I set everything up in an order, not in an order of favorite or interesting or anything like that. It's just all of these are interesting, and I selected them off of this little snippet. Then I click on visit the source, and that takes me over to the source, and then we talk about it. Noor Al-Sabai put the article together for cheat codes over in futurism.com. And it says, if you're going to cheat, the text statement says, quote, if you're going to cheat, you have to cheat in a way that's intelligent. So some are adding typos, and one person said she likes to prompt chatbots to write an essay as a college freshman who is a little dumb to bypass AI detection. Stanford sophomore Eric, no last name, told New York Magazine that his classmates have gotten really good at manipulating the system. You put a prompt in ChatGPT, then put the output into another AI system, and then put that into another AI system, he said. And at that point, if you put it into an AI detection system, it decreases the percentage of an AI used every time. But yeah, that's not really what you really have to worry about. The professors actually like kind of dinking this, like they can tell when somebody, but the problem is that it's really hard to say, to plant a flag and say this student used AI. So I think that it's just going to have to become part and parcel to academia that you're going to have to use AI or at least embrace AI to the point where there's going to have to be other checks and balances as to the nature of the material. But even presentations won't do it. I know that when I did one of my masters, there were people that showed up intoxicated and still aced the class. I mean, they did their presentation after taking a couple of drinks. It was quite entertaining. So when assisting a general education class on music and social change last fall, Williams, a professor or teaching assistant, Sam Williams, over at University of Iowa, said that he was shocked by the change in tone and quality between students' first assignments, a personal essay about their own tastes, and their second, which dug into the history of New Orleans jazz. Not only did those essays sound different, and that's the thing where a professor will sit there and go, yeah, the conversations that you're having with your professor doesn't sound anything like your paper. They said, hey, don't use AI, the teaching assistant recalled, but if you're going to cheat, you have to cheat in a way that's intelligent. You can't just copy exactly what it spits out. Students have seemingly taken that advice to heart, and Williams, like his colleagues around the country, is concerned about students taking their AI use even further. And they will. The problem is that factually, AI hallucinates and it will catch up to you at some point. And the problem there is when it does catch up to you, it's your reputation dinging the institutional reputation, because they're not going to trust anybody that comes out of a college where people used AI to the point where that's what got them by. That's the one problem with it. So I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to more hands-on, more application, presentations, verification of the facts that are being provided, lots of other checks and balances. It's the shibboleth of academia is coming, something that's going to require a student to basically support the facts that they put in a paper in a unique and different way. Let's keep on going though. The next article is over in Greenogram. Guess how much the ocean floor that humans have explored? Hint, it's less than 1%, a lot less, according to this article over in Nature. Davida Castelvecchi put the article together over at nature.com. The team collected data from about 44,000 deep sea dives performed either by crewed deep sea vessels or remotely operated or autonomous submersibles. Their map shows how dives have focused heavily on waters near a few countries, especially the United States, Japan, New Zealand. Moreover, data from many of those dives are owned by private companies and unavailable to researchers. Vast expanses of the ocean floor remain where only information available comes from rough mapping tools such as sonar. The Indian Ocean is one of the least explored areas. So these are the hot spots. Kind of interesting. There is a limit to, I'm not logged in, so I can't read the entire article over at Nature, but we'll see if I can remember to actually log in the future, but you can go over and check it out. So how much was actually searched? How much have we actually explored as humans? 0.001%, an area equivalent to about 1/10 the size of Belgium. The findings were published on May 7th in Science Advances. Let's keep on going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Ping pong robot returns shots with high speed precision. MIT engineers. I wonder what this translates to in some other field. So like somebody fires a bullet and a ping pong robot can race over and smack it back. That might actually be pretty brilliant. So MIT engineers are getting in on the robotic ping pong game with a powerful, lightweight design that returns shots with high-speed precision. The article is by Jennifer Chu from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's published over at techexplore.com. In tests, the engineers threw 150 balls at the robot, one after the other, from across the ping pong table, and the bot successfully returned the balls with a hit rate of about 88% across all three swing types. The robot's strike speed approaches the top return speed of human players and is faster than that of other robotic table tennis designs. The new table tennis bot included a multi-jointed robotic arm that is fixed to one end of a ping pong table and wields a standard ping pong paddle. Otherwise, it's illegal. It's not allowed to play competitive ping pong. Aided by several high-speed cameras and a high-bandwidth predictive control system, the robot quickly estimates the speed and trajectory of an incoming ball and executes one of several swing types, loop, drive, or chop, to precisely hit the ball to a desired location on the table with various types of spin. So there's a video. It's over on YouTube. Yeah, I'll play it. Why not? It's muted. So hopefully the bot picks up the speed. So it hit this, but it's not hitting it. Oh, it's hitting it into a net, but supposedly over the actual internet here. Not internet, the internet. There's never mind. So if this is the speed it goes at, I don't know. Come on, let's speed it up. So this is pretty cool. I think it's attached to a table. Whoa, what kind of weird spin was that? Anyway, the ping pong arm is starting to go crazy. So building robots to play ping pong is a challenge that researchers have taken up since the 1980s. The problem requires a unique combination of technologies, including high-speed machine vision, fast and nimble motors and actuators, precise manipulator control, and accurate real-time prediction, as well as higher-level planning of game strategy. So MIT is where it's at. Let's see, did they publish anything? Yeah, so they wrote a paper, David Nguyen et al., high-speed robotic table tennis swinging using lightweight hardware and model predictive control. It's over in Archive. So it's a preprint server. It hasn't been peer-reviewed. So go and check it out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But there's more at this article over at Tech Explore for sure. So let's keep going, though. This next article is over in Non Sequitur News, one of the many 50 channels that are over at ohmtown.com, where news is aggregated down into a stream of science, technology, and society articles. So in this one, I guess we're landing precisely in the society segment. A 3-year-old flying in business class was served a glass of wine and his mother is not happy. A Cathay, I guess, a Pacific flight attendant mistakenly served a glass of white wine to a child in business class. His mother said that there was a lack of care for her son after the incident. The airline said it sincerely apologized and had launched an internal review, and the flight attendant was ejected from the plane mid-flight. No, that's not true. Anyway, Milan Sembi put the article together. It's over at businessinsider.com. The mother said that the flight attendants quickly replaced her son's drink with water. Well, duh. I don't know. The woman, whom the publication identified only with the surname Wong, said that the child took a sip of what he thought was water and said that it tasted sour. His father then checked the drink and found that it was actually wine. I mean, it was white wine. Accidents happen. But it shouldn't have been given to a child, obviously, but for crying out loud, how does that actually happen? The white wine and the water was poured in the same place. They should have just given the cup and the water, seal something up so that you don't get that kind of a mistake. During the whole process, there was a lack of care for my son. They gave me the impression that they were trying to shirk responsibility. Responsibility for what? I understand that these kind of things can happen from time to time, but I don't know what else they're supposed to do. I'm sure that they kept an eye on the child to make sure that nothing bad happened, but they can't take it back out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they showed some type of remorse for the incident and they apologized and they traded the wine for water, and I'm not sure what else really an organization can do. But they say at the end of this article, we take this matter very seriously and have launched an internal review to ensure appropriate follow-up actions are implemented and goodwill is being offered. We will continue to support and assist the family. And good on them for stepping up. But, let's keep going. The next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Who created this peculiar painting of a drooling dragon? Nobody knows, but a museum just bought it for $20 million. The article is by Eli Wizovich over at Smithsonian Magazine or smithsonianmag.com. Painted around 1510, the mysterious altarpiece by an unknown artist features unusual details, including a slobbering dragon and an angel playing the mouth harp. Oh yeah, there's an angel right there. Is this supposed to be the drooling dragon? Is there another one somewhere that I don't see? Is that it? It looks like a mean dog, not a drooling dragon. But maybe that's the dragons of circa 1510. The London's National Gallery recently purchased an enigmatic artwork called "The Virgin and Child" with Saints Louis and Margaret for $20 million. Despite the painting's high price tag, there is no consensus among experts about who painted the altarpiece, where it was commissioned, or even what country the artist was from. Last exhibited in 1960, The Virgin with Child with Saints Louis and Margaret is a mysterious painting that the National Gallery has had its eye on for decades. Gabriel Finaldi, the director of the museum, tells the art newspaper's Martin Bailey. The gallery purchased the painting earlier this year as part of its bicentenary. My goodness, can I not say this word today? Bicentenary. Forget it. Give it my Harvard try, and I never went to Harvard, so this is the number of tries. Can't say the word bicentenary. Centenary? Bicentenary. There you go. Anyway, celebration. My goodness. Mayor Watt, you egghead. So the work will go on display starting May 10th this year, 2025. Museum officials hope the prolonged viewing will help move scholars closer to a consensus about the details of this expensive painting's provenance and creator. And watch it just be some person that was bored. I mean, that level of detail kind of pushes it beyond that. How big is this thing? Do they say? So the first clues about the altarpiece's origins come from the wooden panel it's painted on. The gallery used dendrochronology, which is the study of the wood, to date the wood to around 1483. The wood is Baltic oak, frequently used in the Low Countries. French artists of the era used locally sourced wood. The altarpiece was first documented in 1602. Another detail related to St. Louis helped art historians narrow down the date even more when the dendrochronology sets an early limit to 1483. A dating of about 1510 seems appropriate on stylistic grounds, the National Gallery says in a statement. It suggests that the painting's plasticity, monumentality, and lighting are reminiscent of French painter Jean Hay, while its composition and versatile execution reveals artistic debts to Jan van Eyck and Hugo van der Goes of the Netherlandish tradition. But beyond these stylistic similarities, it's truly a one-of-a-kind. Emma Caprone, the curator of the museum who was responsible for the acquisition, describes the altarpiece as wildly inventive and full of iconographical oddities, per, again, the art newspaper. Let's go on. The next article is over in Greenogram. A microbe that infests hospitals can digest medical-grade plastic. Apparently, it's a first. The bacterium Pseudomonas aeruginosa produces an enzyme that breaks down biodegradable plastics. Rachel Fieldhouse over at nature.com put the article together. And it says here, researchers at the at the United Kingdom identified an enzyme which they call PAP1 in a strain of Pseudomonas aeruginosa isolated from a wound. They found that the enzyme can break down a plastic that is commonly used in healthcare because of its biodegradable properties called PCl, or polycaprolactone. Until now, the only enzymes shown to break down plastics were found in the environmental bacteria, says study co-author Ronan McCarthy. We've actually talked about this. They've found it in dumps and stuff like that, the things that break down plastic, biological things. He says that the finding, the same ability in pathogens often present in hospitals, could explain why these microbes persist in these environments. If a pathogen can degrade plastic, then it could compromise plastic-containing medical devices such as sutures, implants, stents, and wound dressings, which would obviously negatively impact patient prognosis. As part of their study, McCarthy and his colleagues inserted the gene that codes for the enzyme into Escherichia coli, or E. coli bacteria. And when they made the bacteria express the enzyme, they found that it broke down the PCl in agar, or beads. The strain of P. aeruginosa taken from the wound was also able to digest PCl, agar, and beads, and when the researchers created a mutant where the gene was coded for the PAP1 enzyme that was deleted from P. aeruginosa, the bacterium was unable to degrade the plastic. So they actually know what it was, the gene itself. Pretty cool. So maybe they can find a way to digest other plastics, but that could be very, very dangerous. Let's keep going though. The next article is over in the Word and Law. The California bar was so bad that the exam vendor is getting sued over it. In the spirit of bar prep, let's IRAC this. Basically, you break down the case. The California bar had an issue. They looked at the budget and realized that they'd go bankrupt if they continued administering the bar as usual. Rules are rules, though. You got to have in some way of determining minimum competency. To conclude, they had to hastily come up with a new experimental, partially crafted by AI test to administer, and that's no joke. They actually admitted that it was partially crafted by AI. Yeah, you may have noticed that the application part of the IRAC was glossed over. That's what the State Bar of California's most recent lawsuit against Measure, MEAZURE, Measure Learning, is about. So apparently Reuters has an article on this. The State Bar, represented by partners from Houston Hennigan, said it is seeking an unspecified amount of damages from Measure. The State Bar signed a $4.1 million contract with the company in September 2024 to administer the exam. Some test takers were unable to log into the bar exam at all, while many experienced delays, lax exam security, distracting proctors, a copy and paste function that didn't work. The State Bar alleged that Measure disabled its own spell check feature because it froze the platform. Well, there has always been distracting something in there, but I don't know about lax exam security. I'm not sure how that would play. Anyway, it doesn't matter to me. So it says, as if faulty spell check feature wasn't enough, some test takers allege that they couldn't even type out words without dealing with lagging letters. Few things in life inspire irrationality or irrationally non-reciprocal anger quite like non-responsive keyboards. Let me tell you. Anything that lags drives me freaking nuts. So just so you all know, when I kicked off this show, OBS's CPU meter jumped from 0.03 use to 30%. And beyond. And when I looked at it last, it was 30%. But I know that it bounces around, and it's done this before, but there's something going on with OBS, and I think the Stream Deck software, I don't know. But I have to shut down both of them and bring them back online, and everything went away. I'm operating right now at 0.7, 0.6, whatever. But that drives me nuts, and I'm not paying thousands to study for the bar and thousands to take the bar, and then my entire livelihood dependent on what my bar, me passing the bar is. So, and LSATs are the same way. They're a nerve-wracking, expensive, time-consuming, and you have to dedicate your life to them. And you wake up having nightmares. It's like getting a PhD, except that it isn't a PhD. It's considered a terminal degree, but you can actually get a PhD above it, or parallel to it, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, while that should be a breath of relief for anyone, they basically said that breath of relief is that they're fixing California's now established bad bar reputation by issuing refunds and free chances to retake the horrid exam. But contracts, employment agreements, and stuff like that are built off of you passing it at that time. You are money to a firm, so if you can't be put into play as an attorney, then you're basically you're a subordinate, but everything that has to go through the law firm has to go through an attorney that's passed the bar. Otherwise, well, you're practicing without a license. So, as far as I recall. So, anyway, the payoff probably won't be that grand, but we know that they're trying to do anything at this point to save their butts. So this article is by Chris Williams over at Above the Law, which usually has some tremendous snark in their writing. Over at Above the Law, it's just a lot of fun to read their articles. So the deck statement there actually says, maybe this will take some of the blame off of the bar's horrible execution. But it isn't the bar. It isn't the California bar. They contracted a solution, and the solution shit the bed. So bad on them. Anyway, let's keep on going as the Cola Wars heats up. The cold Cola Wars heats up. In fact, Pepsi is officially trying to prove it's better than Coke. Pepsi's trying to prove to the world that it is the superior soda. In honor of the 50th anniversary of the Pepsi Challenge, the soda brand is reviving its marketing stunt that pits its product against that of Coke. This time around, Pepsi is on a mission to show that its zero sugar offer is better than Coke's similar product by offering a blind taste. So I've got the this one isn't zero sugar, but I've been drinking the orange cream zero sugar ones. I think that they're great. They're really good with a good quality rum added to it. But anyway, the challenge began back in February during the Super Bowl and has continued on a nationwide tour ever since. The article is over at Vice, written by Paige Gawley. The text statement says, Pepsi is trying to prove that it can still go toe-to-toe with Coke by taking over the latter soft drink's home turf for a blind taste test. We did an article yesterday. When was that? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, Pepsi is not in the top 3. But Coke is. Coke is the number 1 by a long shot, apparently. So I'm not quite sure, this isn't really going to work. I think they're coming a little bit too late. Yeah, Pepsi is not in the top 3 anymore. It's actually number 4 behind, not 7-Up, Sprite. It's behind Sprite. All right. Well, anyway, Pepsi isn't in the top 3 soda anymore. This is a different article than the one that we highlighted 3 days ago, I think it was. Let me see one more time. Yeah, on May 6th, we had a segment about Pepsi no longer being in the top 3. So it says we're focusing on building the Pepsi brand, which includes options like zero sugar and flavor innovations like wild cherry. Yeah, I don't know if that's what's going to do it. Maybe the taste. Could it really be the taste? I don't know. I like Coke. Anyway, our last article for today is over on the Warcrafters channel. This is not our first rodeo. Dune Awakening team, who hit snooze earlier this month or last month to push it a little bit, is apparently confident that their servers won't explode at launch. It's something that we've seen happen many a time previously. It's now an expected part of gaming, and the launch of a highly anticipated multiplayer game with immediate failure of that game's servers is pretty much expected. So I'm trying to get into the beta. I requested it, but I don't know if I'll be allowed in it. We'll see. It just says that we know you want in. But we'll see. But it's the beta weekend right around the corner. So Christopher Livingston put this article together over at PCGamer.com. Rest assured, there will be thousands of servers grouped together in hundreds of worlds available at launch. Not sure if I want to pay for this just yet. I really want to play it and try it out myself and see if it's anything like Ashes of Creation, which, man, I've paid a lot to actually stay engaged in Ashes of Creation, and I cannot get past it. I just don't like it. There's something, I don't know, it's kind of uncanny valley. So noting that full servers are impossible to completely avoid, the developer said that there are thousands of servers grouped together and hundreds of worlds available at launch, spread out across North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia, adding that it'll be able to spin up more servers if necessary. This is not our first rodeo, they say. We've launched several MMOs and several games over the past 25 years, and we have a robust set of tools, a set of tools that I've learned over a long career. Wait, hold on. What's that full saying? What's that full saying? A very particular set of skills. Oh yeah, here we go. So I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. Well, we're gamers and we want to be able to log in. If you are looking for a ransom, I can tell you I don't have any money. But what I do have is a very, very particular set of skills that I've acquired over a very long career, skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let me log into your server now, that'll be the end of it. If not, I will wait until public access. I will pay the fee. I will play the game. But I won't pursue you. But if you give me a beta key, then I'll say thanks. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, They say that they love the confidence, but they feel like they've heard other developers and publishers claim that they have systems in place, and it still wets the bed. So we'll see what happens. We saw it with games, and this is what the author of this article is saying. We saw it with games like Helldivers 2, Last Epoch, Palworld, Nightingale, Flight Simulator. They all quickly faltered under the strain of a massive influx of players and had to scramble to get the problems fixed. It seems like all of them do, you know. We'll see. I would love an opening day to not wet the bed, but I mean, even World of Warcraft does. So I'm not hoping beyond hope. If I were to hold my breath, I would probably turn blue and pass out. Anyway, that is it for today. I am out of here. I'm Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and I hope that you go and visit and become a citizen. It would be great to see you there. And that's it for another episode of Non Sequitur News, and what I'm now calling, I read some interesting news today. Oh boy. About some tech and science and people today. Do.